All right. Hi, Kristy and Maggie. This is the coach call. We're actually going to go over their stories. And just so you know, some reference, Kristy, the blonde, I'm going to refer to her as the blonde. Kristy is my cousin. And actually, I looked up to her for a very long time as a little girl and always wanted her tall, long, lean body because she always looked amazing in a bikini on the shore and all the lifeguards would look at her. And she was just an awesome, super supportive cousin too. But over the years, she sparked interest in Shakeology, and I really didn't think of her becoming a coach until I don't even know how it happened. So Kristy will have to remind me how it happened. But she is doing amazing. She's hit over Success Club 10. Kristy, do you know how many Success Club points you've had in the past 3 months or 4?
Past 3 months, maybe around 40.
Around 40, yeah. So clearly she kind of knows what she's doing, and she's gunning for Diamond, and I know that that's close. And she went to Summit and is now coming to Edge. So I think that there's some things there. And then Maggie is another person that I very much, so I'm such a creeper. So in high school, I went to high school with Maggie, and we had mutual friends, but I just thought how pretty she was and how fit she was. I definitely noticed she was I knew you were athletic, but I don't think I realized it until we became friends later. But people would always ask me if I knew her because people would say that we looked alike, and I would always get really insecure. I'm like, oh my gosh, Maggie's really, really pretty. Okay, whatever. But anyway, so that's how I knew Maggie before. And then we became friends later after we both went through some breakups and lived in the same town and became really close and realized we were both really into fitness. And for the longest time, I looked up to her / looked at her as a little bit of a competition in the sense that we're both in Indianapolis trying to make fitness be our thing. And I was like, screw it. I'm just going to ask Maggie about Beachbody. It would be amazing to have her on my side versus feeling like I constantly have to be her friend / frenemy, just in the fitness world. So that's how I met Maggie. And Maggie has been Diamond, and I know she's, I always tell them, they're like diamonds in my hearts because they've been there. It's just a matter of being stable, and it's not as easy as you think once you get there, but we're working on that. And then Maggie, do you have a count of your Success Club points in the past 3 or 4 months?
I think I'm in the 30s. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I feel like it's more than that, but maybe not. I don't know. Okay. You've been doing really well with that. But over the course of the year, rarely has she missed it. And when she's missed it, it's just been a month where she's not been focused. But when she's focused, every clockwork. So we're going to start with Kristy, and she's going to tell a little bit about her story and how she became a coach. And the floor is yours.
All right. So I actually started thinking about it earlier today when I knew that we were doing this call. And I started thinking, why did I pick up the phone that day a little more than a year ago and tell Maria, okay, I want to do this coaching thing? And at first I really couldn't remember. I remember I didn't even tell my family until the next day, oh, I called Maria and I'm going to be a coach now. But now that I think back on it, I had, right around that time, I had been really stressed out with some family stuff. I had been my grandmom's caretaker, and right around that time, we had put her into a nursing home. And also at the same time, I was finished, ending a relationship. So I remember sitting there that night and I was like, I just want something that's for me. I wanted something that was my thing, as opposed to taking care of somebody else or ending this relationship. I wanted that thing that was my image, my thing that I was going to work for. So I think that's why I ultimately made that phone call to become a coach. Now, fast forward a year, I kind of turn it back around. My whole financial issues that I always had through my 20s, I had accrued over $25,000 in credit card debt. And just prior to signing up as a coach, in 3 years, I paid off all that credit card debt. So becoming a coach, I had 0 credit card debt. And it was kind of all right, this is going to be my time that I can start making some more money, building on my teacher salary to start doing, like I said, things for me. So that was kind of it.
That's awesome.
And I bet Maria at that time was probably shocked too, because here I was, a Shakeology drinker for 4 years. I would cancel my Shakeology, occasionally return a bag. I was the most inconsistent customer, but all of a sudden it clicked for me.
Kristy is one of those people that would call me, I forget, or I would see her on vacation. Do you think it's mental? Do you think it's like a placebo? because you would believe in it, and then you like potentially get sick that one time out of the or like feel a little cough.
I'd be like, I'm not drinking this anymore. I got a cold.
I got a cold one, but yeah, it was really neat. And then, so knowing why you started as a coach is awesome. That can help me refresh my memory. But what has it done for you in the past year?
I think it's given me so much motivation for myself. Just so much drive and motivation, and to be able to stick to something and have goals. I'm a teacher, and yeah, there's goals that you work for, and you have to by the end of the year meet certain criteria, but it's never like personal goals or like sales goals that each month you're trying to meet some kind of quota. And for me, I love that. That's something that keeps me so driven. So I feel like if I start a workout program and I know I have 30 days, like I stick to that workout program. And the same thing, like day one of the month, I know I have 30 days that I need to meet a goal or succeed beyond that goal, and I stick to it. So I feel like it's given me just something else to work for.
Awesome. And one last question before we move on to Maggie. Where do you see this taking you in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I would love for it to go big. Like I would love for that to be a 6-figure career. I would love for the three of us and the rest of our team to be that team that other people look up to as like Beachbody leaders. And I feel like we
Yeah, I love it. I like gives me goosebumps. I love hearing that. Okay, awesome. Okay, Maggie, let me remember the first question. Okay, the whole, was it why you signed up to be coach? Was that my first question?
I think it was.
Thanks. Go for it.
Well, I think back to when you asked me, you had, I think going back to, we were both in like the fitness world, and you asked me to try Shakeology. And I was like, okay. So I tried it. And then I was like, I think I signed up as a coach right away. And I was just kind of like, okay, I'll try it. I'll sign up as a coach, and not really having any idea what that meant really. And so, I did my own 30-day challenge by myself. I wasn't in a challenge group, kind of tracked my own results with Shakeology, and they were awesome. And I was really impressed. And with further research, I was just really impressed in the product itself and the integrity of the company and the products and everything. And then, so that's kind of why I became a coach.
And and I didn't touch on it. Kristy is a teacher, and my cousin, and then Maggie, I touched on the fitness, but what's your background with jobs and all that?
Yeah, so I went to school for nutrition, fitness, and health, and that's what I earned my bachelor's in. Went and worked in corporate fitness for 4.5 years, and then I took a mini break to try medical sales, highly because I really liked the idea of working from home and didn't like it at all. And then really it was the time that I was finishing in medical sales, and when I became a coach is kind of, it was like I ended medical sales, became a coach, and went back to fitness.
Gotcha.
So I guess to expand on like whether this was part of the question or not, what has kind of brought me to being a coach as like my primary career and as like what I feel like I live and die for now is that going from like a full-time fitness professional of teaching classes and personal training and just feeling like really burnt out and doing something that I don't know if Maria, you can relate to this or not, but doing so much of the classes and the training and everything left me feeling pretty exhausted, burnout, and empty, like not really fulfilled, even though I know I was helping people. And so I think when I got to that point, which was about a year ago, and realized that this was something that I could really use to help people become healthier while also feeling fulfilled, not taxing my own body and make my own schedule and everything at the same time. And it's just been like so eye-opening the more that I've immersed myself in the business and learning and everything, just to kind of like soak it all up.
Yeah, there's been a transition for you. I mean, I think Maggie and I, and there's a lot of coaches on the team who are now doing the pace is quicker, and that's just because we've decided that this is our main focus. Because we wanted to, when we knew fitness was our main thing, there's a lot of routes you can go. There's being a personal trainer, there's working at a gym, there's opening up your own gym, there's creating your own programs, there's having your own YouTube whatever live channel, the like whatever the video personal trainer thing that you could do too. And not that you can't do that stuff, but I found that when I could make all of that free and make my main conversion, my hook be being a coach, that's the type of person I wanted to work with anyway. Like working with Maggie and working with Kristy and the different coaches on the team, that's so much more fulfilling than it was, no offense, working with that person who got in the way all the time and just never lost the weight and never graduated from that step. It was, it's not fulfilling, as Maggie talked about. So that's awesome. And what helped you see that? Like, what helped you see Beachbody be a tool, the main, one of your main tools, I guess, to Maggie?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you feel like made you feel that way though? Like what made Beachbody stand out as the way you wanted to go versus other ways? Do you feel like there was something like distinct about it?
Yeah, I think you cut out for a second. That's why I didn't hear your question. But I gotcha. I got you now. Yeah, no, I mean, I think for me, kind of that other tipping point was about a year ago when Max 30 came out, and I did it from start to finish. And for me, it was like I had tried the programs, I teach some of the live programs, but I had never done one of their actual programs from start to finish just because I was always teaching classes and I just hadn't done it. So I committed to doing Max 30 and I loved it. Like I just loved it so much. And I think because I was doing it and I was sharing it and then the next challenge group I had, I did a Max 30 challenge group and I saw how other people really loved it. And it was just kind of like doing that back to basics of starting a program and finishing it, seeing it through, using all the tools that are available and seeing just that 100% always positivity in the business and the culture of Beachbody paired with these programs that are so like systematic and so good, like the call was on Monday, that they will give anybody results who is looking for them. And there's so many different programs from like the dance to the lifting to the intensity, like Max 30 and that there's literally something for everyone. So that's something else from my background. When I would train people or offer classes, I have my own certain style of training. I have my certain classes that I like to teach. And it's like my world was opened up so much bigger to be able to help that many more people based upon the programs that are available and just believing in the company that it is.
You hit the nail on the head. I would say something to reiterate that, but I would just be like being redundant. I totally agree. Awesome. And then where do you see this taking you like 5 years from now?
This is all I'm doing. This is it.
Love it.
I will never leave. You're stuck with me.
Yes.
So that just has to mean growth. I mean, I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing and growing. Yeah.
And I think these two are good examples of once you get focused, you're not going anywhere. And there are so many bright and shiny objects that, especially as you become more successful, become shinier. So like different like websites, I think Julie, I shared a link she talked about, and there's a reason that you guys have Success Clubs the way you do, Success Club points the way you do, is that you're on that program and you're on Shakeology and you're sharing that. You're not sharing a million other things. And even my class, like me personally, my classes have started to like a little bit dip in attendance because I'm saving my promotional stuff for what needs to make sense business wise, and everything else can be organic, whereas the business is deliberate. And so you guys are doing well with that. So I keep talking about Success Club points, and in case people are watching this and feel like we're talking a bunch of Beachbody terms, then Success Club just really means a point or 2 points that are awarded for helping their people out with a program in Shakeology or just Shakeology. But once I started helping people out with the program and Shakeology together, my business changed, that's for sure. And I think that's what, for the majority, you guys tend to help help customers with. So Kristy, what would you say helps you get to your Success Club points month after month?
I think kind of piggybacking on what Maggie said, I think the biggest thing is being a product of the product. And for me, that's what's really worked. I think what kicked off my business kind of taking a turn was when I finally shared my max 30 results. And it was such a big difference and it was 2 rounds. So when I had started and then 4 months later, it was such a big change. So showing that to people, I think, was the first time that I really started having a big response to that. But I also think, like, somebody else had asked me a couple weeks ago, like, what was my secret? And I really don't have any secret that I'm doing, but I also think, like, part of it is that I'm not super young. I'm not saying I'm old, but I'm 36, and I feel like I've been able to follow these Beachbody programs and get myself into pretty decent shape. So I think that a lot of people in their late 30s and 40s then kind of see me on Facebook dancing around and working out, and they kind of feel like, oh, I want to do what she's doing. Yeah. So I don't know if I was in my mid-20s doing what I was doing, if I'd still have that same success. But for me, it's just that group of people that I think I'm targeting right now.
That's awesome. It's a good point. Because I do think age is in our favor in the sense that if you look at the common factor of what everyone is dealing with, you're probably, if you look in your circle and you're the best one in shape besides being at Beachbody stuff. And I know at Angie's List, like I compare myself to fitness professionals, but then I get to Angie's List and all these people need so much help with their health and fitness you have such a market because it's endless. So that's awesome. How often do you know, Kristy teaches and she's got strict rules on when she can act. She can't be on her. Tell us about your rules and tell us what you do too.
So since Summit, I have made sure that I really stick to my posting at least 3 times a day. But in the summer, it was so easy. I could post 3 to 4 times a day. But when I go back to school, I need to make sure that one post goes off in the morning, like between 6 and 7 in the morning, because once I go to school, I really can't we're not supposed to post on Facebook. So that time between like 7 in the morning till 4 o'clock, I know I'm pretty much unattainable. So then, I get off that other post maybe at like 4 and then another one like around dinner time. So I've just had to be a little bit more strategic about it. I can still post in my challenge groups, which is fine because they're secret groups, so I can keep my challengers motivated, but I just have to be a little more careful and plan things a little bit more. And for me, I'm not always the biggest planner at all, kind of spur the moment on things. So keeps me regimented.
That's good. Cool. How about you, Maggie?
I didn't even hear the question because it was cutting out, but I think I understand.
Just Success Club, tell us your situation with like different obstacles that you have, because everyone's got them. Like everyone's going to tell their obstacles, but I've never really heard your guys's because I just see the Success Club points on the board. So tell me different obstacles that you have and then what you do to get around that.
I feel like maybe it sounds dumb, but I feel like so much of what I was thinking about this the other day, so much of like the people that I end up getting in touch with, like already have like a gym membership. This is like something that I've had happen like numerous times. And when, even if they're interested in like getting in better shape or having, something like making a change, I just had this happen actually, where I'm like, okay, like what kind of workouts do you like? And you're asking the questions and they're like, well, but I don't really want to like spend money on something when I have a gym membership. And I'm like, I understand, like you could stream it there. And they're like, well, no, because there's a lot of classes. So I don't know if that's just been me recently or been just like the people that I've gotten in touch with, but I feel like so much of it has been people just like, or in Baltimore, and this sounds so dumb, but we're all in either apartments or row homes, which are very long and narrow, and a lot of people, and they're old. So a lot of people have this like weird thing about working out in a very small space. I enjoy the fact that I do it and I post it because I'm like showing like you can, but some people are just really weird about like it's a narrow, long row home and sometimes there's just not a whole lot of space. So I think those have been my biggest issues with the programs. With Shakeology, it's just always, people are skeptical. People think it's a protein shake, and it's just a matter of like getting through to people's heads that like why it is expensive in the eyes of a normal consumer and all of that. Was that answering your question?
Yeah. And then with like your posting, what's like your formula? Do you post several times a day or what do you try to do every day?
It's been evolving. I've been consistently trying to do at least 2 or 3 times a day on both like my personal and my like page. But the system has been evolving as far as like what I feel like has been working or not. So I've been trying to do just like a good balance of different types of posts, both like personal posts, posts about working out, posts about Shakeology, posts about the business, like just about being happy and being positive and motivational. So just trying to like kind of hit it all and rotate kind of the idea throughout the week.
Yeah, clearly you're doing a great job. I was going to say, let me think. Now, so we know that you guys make the posts every day, and that's kind of easy for the lettuce coaches to look up what you post and how you do it. I think there's a lot that gets lost in translation with how we convert that interest or no interest. Like, so how do you, Kristy, transition people into customers? Like, even, is it from people liking your stuff? Is it from people messaging you? How does that go?
I've been trying to figure out what gets the most attention as far as posts. So like if I post something, then I like to see like which ones will have somebody actually message me as opposed to people liking them, or which ones do acquire the most likes. But I feel like the ones that are either me showing results, like me doing some kind of extreme workout or something, or people really like seeing before and afters. People need to see that difference, like of what somebody looked like when they started and what somebody looked like a month later. So then I feel like anytime I'm posting before and afters or something like that, then I'm getting messages. And I feel like almost at that point, when people message me, they're almost ready. Like I think you can tell, like maybe leading up to that, they're liking some posts, but I think by the time they get to that actual message, they've probably already done a little bit of their research. That's the point they kind of want to reach out and say, okay, I'm ready to do this. But then again, there are times where you get the messages and you fill them in with all the information and ask them questions about themselves, and then you don't hear from them again. So it's kind of like give or take. But I do think that once they message you, they're kind of like ready, or at least ready to listen to what you have to say.
Right. And then what do you say when they're like, let's say I'm like, Kristy, girl, you look so good. Tell me what you're doing. I can't imagine having all that energy, but I need to do something. I've been in a rut. What's involved in this 21-day fix stuff?
Most of the time I start out by filling them in like what the program is, and then follow up with or in the same message, but then follow up with some questions like, well, what are you used to doing as workouts, or what do you feel like is the most problematic for you? Like, do you not have time, or do you not have this? What types of things are you looking for? So kind of turning it on them to look into themselves to see like if it's a right fit for them too.
And what's your 30-second elevator pitch as to what you are doing? Like, what do you say 21-day fix is?
Like what I'm doing, what 21-day fix is in general?
Yeah. Like, how do you fill them in? Like, how do you say that?
I guess I just fill in with that. My biggest thing is always that it's a 3-part program. Like I pretty much make Shakeology a non-negotiable. I don't know if most of my 21-day fix customers even know that it comes without Shakeology, because it's kind of, to me, it really is like you do the meal plan, you do the fitness, and you drink Shakeology. That to me is the 3-part program. So I kind of go on it based on that.
That is awesome. I've never heard that actually, a 3-part program. That's
and I didn't always do that when I had first started like a year ago. It was kind of, if somebody wanted to buy just the program, I was okay with that, and I kind of pitched them on both. But through my challenge groups, I see people saying like within week 1 or week 2, like I have so much more energy from drinking my shakes, and I do think it's such a big component of the program.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And then Maggie, what do you do? Like, what are your strategies? I know that there's different ways do you message people and let them message you? Do you go after likes? Do you reach out to old friends? Like, what are your steps?
It kind of like a little bit of everything. I would say right now I'm going through and, I friend, a handful of people every day based upon like mutual friends, and I try to be cognizant of not friending somebody who has a mutual friend that's a Beachbody coach, so, and then once they accept my friend request, I usually wait like a week or 2, or it just kind of depends. Maybe I wait a few days, maybe I wait a week. It just depends how they come through on my, lineup of messaging people, and then just thank them, like you had been saying, to thank them for accepting my friend request. And actually now I've been not so much diving into, oh no, what have I been doing now? I've gone through this so many times. I think that right now, which I feel good about, is messaging and saying, oh, can I back up even though we're recording?
Yeah, of course.
I'm sorry. Right now, my big thing has been friending people that are in. I have a workout group for like my people at Church on the Square that have like joined at some point, and a lot of them have never come to a class. So right now, I've been focusing on finding people in that group who I've never met and saying like, I know I teach classes, but what I actually do like 90% of my day is this, and explain like, and just do like a short explanation of, I do health and fitness coaching. I would love to hear if you have like a regular routine, and, just kind of like tell me about your world of fitness. Like, are you in a regular routine or not? And so that's kind of been my strategy right now, just to like kind of open the door and get people like talking to me, because I feel like so much of like the messaging I put out, like I don't even know how many people have never messaged me back. And so I feel like opening it with questions has been, it's been better at responding so far. I've only been doing this for about a week or two.
That's cool. I like that. And if you hear the way Kristy and Maggie are talking, it's very strategic. They probably don't know how strategic they're being, but it's like, to work smarter, like Kristy posted. It's like, why message someone who's already got a Beachbody coach? I think that's kind of obvious. Or why message somebody who already, I don't know, is spending $1,000 on Advocare? Like, you could switch them, but why don't you kind of look at the people who there's a reason that they don't come to your classes, and like you talked about, you just haven't even extended that relationship yet. Cool. And then what do you say, let's say they tell you a little bit about their journey, how do you go into that transition?
It really just like Kristy was saying, asking so many questions. So it like so depends on every situation, but if they are asking me about like the programs and stuff, I do usually follow up or start with, what type of workouts do you typically enjoy, or what do you hate? And ask like what things they've tried in the past that didn't really work, or what worked but then they just kind of fell off the wagon, and just try to like figure out a way to solve their problem ultimately. But yeah, Shakeology is always a non-negotiable, and the program is what ends up being more negotiable in my case. Or what it's kind of been is more negotiable in my case, because I feel like most people I talk to are like, no, I'm not working out at home, period. And as much as I say that it's actually really awesome when you do it and you make a habit of it, it's like such a time saver. Like, you get all this energy packed in one little area. You don't have to worry about equipment, but.
No, I think it's so interesting to hear the different obstacles that Baltimore has versus Jersey teaching schedule. It's like, I mean, it's just like anything, that there's going to be seasonal issues. There's going to be territory issues. I know Indiana, there's a lot of young moms. So if I was a mom, I think, well, I do help a lot of people, and I'm not even a mom, which is saying something. But if I were to be a mom, it's like mommy groups galore in the Midwest, and people are looking to fulfill themselves as well. But I think we're all kind of in that boat where we might have a lot of friends that, and a lot of the coaches that we're talking to are career driven and really enjoy what they do and have a good setup, but they know that they like to help people, and that's where Beachbody comes in. And I'd like to think a majority of us enjoyed doing that until we realized the potential. And I don't want to speak for you, but I think both of them have been to Summit and both of them have been to Edge. Do you feel, Kristy or Maggie, you can take this, how do you feel like live events play into this whole business?
I think they give a lot of vision and a lot of like hope, for lack of better terminology. Like, you see all these coaches who all have, for the most part, the same intentions or same like reasons that they're there, for the most part, like a blanket answer of why people are coaches. And then you see these people who have really made something of themselves by helping people. And it's just like one of those inspiring, like think big, dream big, do big sort of feelings, that it's just kind of all encompassing of like the whole of Beachbody with the fitness and the nutrition and the helping.
Right. Cool. What about you, Kristy?
I agree. I think live events actually absolutely change your business. When I left Summit, I remember that night sitting at the airport and I was calling my family and I was like, I'm a changed person. And they thought I was probably out of my mind, but it really does. You're around these super successful people and you're around other people who have those same goals and interests as you. And it really does change you as a person. It just motivates you to want to, be like them.
Yeah.
And what
one of the other things that was huge for me at Summit, like leading up to that, I had been doing Beachbody, I guess almost a year at that point, off and on. But I didn't really know this whole like business model. Like I was kind of just, people were buying products from me and I was sending them on their merry way to go do their workout program. Like I had never been in a challenge group before that. So I guess not seeing challenge groups, like I didn't really know how to do them. And after being at Summit and learning about challenge groups and valuing your customers, my business took totally a different take on it, because here were these people who were like in a challenge group with me and trusting me and wanting to hear from me. And I was motivating them every morning. And it's just such a different take on the business. Instead of posting sloppy posts every morning or sloppy posts occasionally throughout the day, it's actually like a plan that you follow. Like they give you the plan and it really works.
Definitely. That's awesome. Well, I know for you guys, it's been, a lot of touch and go with what your goals are, and growing your team as coaches. We went over this in the last team call, and we actually started making a spreadsheet. And like I listened to Julie's call a little bit, but the Power of Success Club partners, and I think you guys might have them, might not. I've gone through where I've had them, and then it's not that it's pointless, but it's kind of like I'm going to be doing it anyway, so talking about it. But now I'm at a point where I really feel like I need just somebody's strengths to help out with my weaknesses. So just real quick, if you guys could go over what you think your strengths are, and then I didn't prep them on this. So what you think your strengths are, and then what you think a weakness is. And that way we just know you a little better. Go ahead, Kristy.
All right. I think my strengths are probably, and it sounds really cliche, but my love for fitness. I've always been into sports and things. So being in a company like this, that's just kind of a given. So for me to work out every day isn't a total struggle or a total obstacle. So I think that's probably one of my strengths. I think motivation is a strength. I think that I have a drive, like, because I have that reason that I want to succeed in this. I want to be able to, in whatever, 4 years, 5 years, have a different life. So I feel like that's probably a strength. I think a weakness is that I can not easily, but I let myself get overwhelmed. Like with my regular job and other things in life, like I let myself get overwhelmed. So I need to make sure that I don't let feeling overwhelmed make me back off or anything like that.
Definitely. And to expand on that, so just so you know, Kristy absolutely basically stopped coaching during the school year, and she was crazy awesome in the summer, stopped during the school year, crazy awesome again, and there was something that shifted there again. So like what shifted, and what shifted to help you after you make the effort during the school year, or for all time? Yeah,
well, I did. I had the first 3 months I did really well, and then when school started, school started and I met my boyfriend, and I figured I needed to make some other things in my life a priority. So from like September till April, I really didn't do anything Beachbody wise until I started Insanity Max, and I feel like Insanity Max just kept me going from there.
That makes sense. Cool. Yeah. Okay, how about you, Maggie?
I don't know. I think that's so dumb. But I mean,
amazing at everything.
What?
I'm amazing at everything.
Yeah, amazing at everything. I don't know. I mean, I guess right now I don't really know where my strengths are, because I do. I have very strong like motivating skills. But I think that's the only thing that I will like take ownership of as like a high strength, other than like the time that I have right now, because I've like purposely made the transition for this to be the only thing that I do. I have a lot of time, so that's a strength of mine right now to, like very much focus on what it is that I'm doing with Beachbody. I guess I don't know exactly where I'm strong, which is why I haven't filled out that sheet yet, even though it was on my to-do list. But like as far as where I can contribute to the team, I don't know exactly what I feel like my biggest strengths are. like contribution wise. And weakness, I think my biggest weakness is, and it's getting a lot better because of practice, but that in-person, like, talk of the products and the programs. And I don't know why, but I just feel like maybe, I think I started off being fearful that somebody's going to always think I'm trying to sell them. And even though that's not my intention, I'm always fearful that's how somebody's going to take me, even just like talking about a program, because me pumping something up so much in the end would mean me making money off of them. So I think even this many years later, I'm still like, I get nervous. But I do really well with ones that like Insanity Max 30 or now like 3-day refresh, like because I've gone through it and I've really like taken ownership of the programs, I do better with like those types of things. But my speaking skills on the spot, I feel, are not the best for like making sense and getting a point across. But
I think you're great.
That's all.
I think we all feel that a little bit. I would say that what you guys didn't touch on, which I definitely think you should touch on, are for Kristy, I think you're incredibly like you have great vision and you have a great eye for opportunity. So there's always these things that you point out for it's just a business. I feel like you have a business mind, which I never would have thought like a teacher would naturally have a business mind, but you do. I feel like you have a very, like that's the way that your mind works is great for this type of business. And then Maggie, I would say that you have so much experience helping people with, I would say you could easily come into play if someone's like, I don't know why this isn't responding for somebody. Like, I think we forget that helping, like going to school for it and seeing how many times people don't have success with something. Like they always think that there might be a simple answer for it. And I've seen Maggie break down the complicatedness, like when we were at Summit, just explaining how complex the metabolism is versus like intermittent fasting versus, I mean, just all the different things you've tried, and to see your body go through ebbs and flows, just being fit, or, you know, just your personal experience and then helping all of your clients. I think that's a huge strength of yours that you can apply to lots of coaches who don't have any experience coaching anybody besides doing a program. Like that's where a lot of people don't have any experience at all. So I definitely think that I miss other things. You walk the walk, and and what we didn't touch on is Maggie does phenomenal with her newsletter. I think very consistent on that. And that could be something that you could always talk on eventually as to how you do that. Because I forget how powerful that newsletter is, but when I sent it out, I actually have a very huge response. And there's just something about getting in someone's email box. They're a little bit more focused. They feel like you're talking to them, and it's not like in the sea of Facebook or social media. So that's definitely a strength of yours too. But yeah, so cool. Well, I really appreciate you guys talking on your experiences, why you're here, your visions, and what's been working for you. What I would love for the coaches to feel like they could reach out to you guys and ask questions, provided they have your blessing, which I know that they do. But these girls have been through doubts, they've been through ups, highs, and lows, and they've come through strong every month when it comes to the points and the, you know, evolving as a coach. So anyway, I just wanted to thank Kristy and Maggie for doing that today. And I'm going to stop recording and probably wrap things up with them, but we'll be sharing this in the team call and keeping this on our YouTube page. So thanks, girls.
Yay, thank you.